in the 60s and the 70s. We had some good music. If you want to hear some of the Temptations, some of Smokey Robinson, some of the Tim Reeves, things that you don't get every day, DJ Scatter, remember, he's going to have it for you.
She getting money now. Baby girl, you don't say. She got that KUAW. She got that okay. She wanna roll it like the sunset. She got that I can't stay put in one place. She got that I don't need a man for nothing. She got that walk like she do it on her runway. See shawty bossy, but like it when I'm bossy.
All right, Kansas City. As we get ready today to start a show, people start texting me at this time as usual. Something about that. I have to turn this phone off. So we get all right, Kansas City. Yes, I'm listening in the background. If you're listening to us on the audio side, you're hearing The Art of Invention, which is our theme song. But I want to welcome you to the BFTAA and More show. This is the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, in conjunction with the WEB Du Bois Learning Center, started this radio station called Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. And we just use KUAW. So we're glad to be here with you today. Hope that you enjoy it. We're getting ready for, yeah, it's kind of washed out. My Chiefs hat looks like it's white. Okay, there, we got the Chiefs on the side, you can see. Yeah, I'm in my Chiefs regalia. Don't have a lot of red on, but this is still my Super Bowl jersey or jacket. So we're glad to be here with you. See if I can show you that. Yeah, 54. All right, yeah, we like the fact that we have went back to a Super Bowl again, which is always a great thing. But yeah, this is the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. If you want to get in touch with us, you can give us a call at 816-599-6893. You can email the radio station at KUAW985@gmail.com. You can also talk to us on Facebook. You can chat with us there. Right now, we're broadcasting live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Periscope. So we've got those four outlets going out right now, and we're hoping to add some more in the coming days. But we want to be wherever you are, and hope that you'll be able to listen to us and enjoy the information that we bring to you. Hey, we're going to talk about some different things today. We're going to stay in with the technology part early on, but near the end, want to talk to you about the voting. Those of you in Missouri, if you haven't registered to vote, you've got till the 7th. So you got 2 more days or 2.5 more days. You can register to vote online. You don't have to go into the office, or you can go into the office and register. Now, I'm just giving you information that I got off of the internet, but I know registration is open until October the 7th in Missouri, in Kansas till October the 13th. So hopefully you'll go and check that out, get registered if you're not registered. Boy, I tell you, sit down here and all of a sudden I need to sneeze. So without further ado, since I do have to sneeze, man, that's rough trying to sit up here and not sneeze when I need to. But to get ready for that, we're going to go right into one of the technology things that we show every week. And that's This Week at NASA. We'd like to tell you what's going on in the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So every week we go there where there's been a lot of African Americans that have made a lot of headway at NASA, and sometimes we don't know about them. We had the Hidden Figures movie that came out, and a lot of people all of a sudden say, oh, didn't know that, didn't know all these people have worked at NASA. And we've got another hidden technology expert from NASA that we're going to be bringing up to you so that you can see and learn about this person in a few minutes later on. But right now, I want to go to This Week at NASA. I think I've got it here. And, oh, wait a minute, I don't have it for our people online. Now, I tell you, you try to get things ready and think you're ready, and there's always something that needs to be tweaked or touched. So that's I guess that's just the way it goes sometimes. So I'm going to add that file in here. While I am talking to you, I'm going to add a file. We're working this out of about 3 computers that we have going as we're doing our shows, and we have a control board which allows us to add, take away, do a lot of the work that we need to do. We've been putting it together, and we also like to say that anybody who would like to be a part of this radio station, if you want to come down and help out, if you want to learn what it takes to put a radio station on, show on, we'd be glad to have you and to tell you about it and to work with you on that. So we can always use help. This is an all volunteer operation here, and sometimes it gets to be a lot. We have a lot of fun with it, but yeah, we can work, and I can't find the program that I am looking for as I am talking to you guys. I know I've got it here, and so those people that happen to be listening to us on the audio only side, right now I've got a missing file that I was trying to find. Let's see, I guess if I go in the right drive, I may be able to find what I'm looking for. There we go, there we go. All right, all right. See, we get things together. Sometimes it takes us more than a minute, but we do get it together. So now, without further ado, let's look and let's listen and find out what's going on this week at NASA, and I'll be right back.
The space station's next crew heads to its launch site. New cargo launches to the station, and getting ready for a first-of-its-kind crew rotation mission. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA. On September 27th, the space station's Expedition 64 crew, including our Kate Rubins, participated in traditional pre-launch ceremonies in Star City, Russia, then headed to the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan to complete its training. Rubins and Russian cosmonauts Sergei Ryzhikov and Sergei Kutsverchkov are targeted to launch to the station October 14th. A Northrop Grumman Cygnus cargo spacecraft launched to the space station October 2nd from our Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. The Cygnus, loaded with nearly 8,000 pounds of research, crew supplies, and hardware, is named after late astronaut Kalpana Chawla, a member of the STS-107 crew that was lost in the Space Shuttle Columbia accident. On September 29th, we hosted a series of news conferences at our Johnson Space Center to preview NASA's SpaceX Crew 1 mission. It will be the first crew rotation mission to the International Space Station using a U.S. commercial spacecraft.
We're excited about the opportunity to name our vehicle. However, rather than wait until we got on orbit, we thought we would share that with you today. So without further ado, the Crew 1 Dragon capsule number 207 will henceforth be known by the call sign Resilience.
The mission is scheduled to launch from our Kennedy Space Center no earlier than October 31st. NASA's Hubble Space Telescope captured the images seen in this time-lapse of a star some 70 million light-years from us that first, in a moment of brilliance, goes supernova, then suddenly fades into oblivion. Supernovae like these can help astronomers measure the expansion of the universe. In light of the COVID-19 pandemic, the International Space Apps Challenge has gone all virtual for 2020. The theme of the October 2nd through 4th hackathon is Take Action. Participants use NASA data to address real-world problems on Earth and in space. Learn more, including about the winners of the recently concluded Space Apps COVID-19 Challenge at spaceappschallenge.org. The new Planet Patrol website lets citizen scientists at home help NASA find exoplanets or worlds beyond our solar system by using data from our planet-hunting Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite, or TESS. Over the course of a year, TESS collects hundreds of thousands of snapshots, each containing thousands of possible planets, too many for astronomers to examine without help. That's what's up this week at NASA. For more on these and other stories, follow us on the web at nasa.gov/twan.
All right. Yeah, we're back, and that's what's going on this week at NASA. Seems like some exciting things, especially some of the virtual hackathons. I'd like to get some of our kids that work with the Black Family Technology Awareness Association involved in that, because we're looking at how much virtual work we can find. We're not able to bring our robotics team on site here at the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center right now due to the COVID virus, but we're hoping to soon be able to get with our young people, with the parents, to do some virtual robotics or some virtual coding, because we still want the kids to get involved, because this is a field that is steadily growing and is part of the world now that we need as much mind power as we can get, and our young people can help solve some of the problems that are going on in the atmosphere, something that's going on with the global warming, that type of thing. We need scientists, need engineers, we need technologists to help work and solve some of the problems that are out there. So that's our part. So we're going to be working on more virtual activities for our young people so that they can start learning, start getting their minds thinking of solutions to problems that are going on here on Earth. So we always like to say that you can support the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, our robotics program. We work with VEX and Lego Robotics, our radio station. All that we do is all under the umbrella of the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, and we could use your donation. We're working on a project that's going to be coming up. We're going to do a virtual silent auction. So I want you to stay tuned, check out our Facebook page, and we'll be putting it on our web page about this virtual silent auction that we're going to do for Giving Tuesday. And we're going to want you to participate. If you're a vendor, if you're a business, if you would like to donate some prizes or some items that we can have on our silent auction, we'd be glad to talk with you about it. You can give a call here to radio station 816-599-6893. Give us a call, and we'd love to promote your business or let them know who are the sponsors, who's donating these items that will help the radio station KUAW to grow, to prosper, and to continue bringing you news about and for our community, and to work at the Black Family Technology Awareness Association with our young people, with our families, to help close that digital divide that exists in the African American community. We started this organization back in 2004, and we're still working on closing the digital divide. You still hear about it out there. So it's not like it's an easy challenge. It's not something that's going to be solved in a day, but it's those that we can stick to it, and we're going to make headway. We're going to continue to work on this until it is no longer a digital divide. You know, we're not just going to bridge it. We want to close it so that you can just walk right across. So that's what we're doing here at the Black Family Technology Awareness Association and at the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center, which has been around for 45 years helping young people in the community. But as we go forward, we were talking about the hidden figures, and you know the ladies that were the human, or what they called them, computers back then. They didn't actually have a computer, so the people were computers. They were doing what computers do, and computers just add and subtract. They work with figures. That's the same thing that all the humans were doing before the age of the computer came along. They were doing it. And then, as you saw in the movie, you started seeing that they were bringing in electronic computers to start doing some of the work that they were doing. And the one lady saw the handwriting on the wall, and they became prepared to work with those new computers that were coming in. So that adding and subtraction that we've been doing on paper isn't going to get it. So we need to go a little bit further and learn a little bit more. And that's the way we have to be in life. Things have come along. I mean, these computers, when I was in school, or even 10, 15, 20 years ago, weren't on everybody's desk. You didn't carry around a cell phone in there. But if you wanted to keep advancing, you had to see the handwriting on the wall and say, hey, these computers are becoming important. I maybe need to start looking on my job if I can get involved in this, if I can get some training in it, if I can start working in this field. And those people that did that were people that saw that you have to change. You have to keep changing. Life is about that. You know, we might have started off on the job and they were doing it one way, but now they're doing it a whole nother way. You may open up a business. A lot of the old businesses, when they open up, just had cash registers in there. Well, you don't go into a business with just a cash register anymore. If you can't take a card, if you can't swipe a card, if you don't have any electronics, you're going to have a problem. So those are the things that entrepreneurs have to constantly change with, business people and workers wherever you are. I mean, there's a lot of people that worked at Ford, General Motors, a lot of those auto plants had to learn about computers, had to learn how to work those robots that were coming in, or, you know, you might be out the door, things like that. So continue to learn, continue to study, continue to improve yourself, because that's one of the keys to progress. Now, as I was saying, as I get off of that soapbox, we'll talk a little bit about one of the little known hidden figures out there. And let's see if I've got the image there. You see that gentleman there standing by, I think it's a F-104 Starfighter. It's a dated, it's an older jet. And his name is Robert H. Lawrence. And better would be to call him, he's Major Roger H. Lawrence, but not only that, he's a doctor. So, and here's another picture of him right there. Okay, Robert H. Lawrence. Now, you say, who was that? Yeah, we saw Hidden Figures, didn't see, we saw a major there, but they didn't talk much about him. I don't know if that was a representation of this guy or not, but this was an Air Force major. And he's the first African-American astronaut, Major Robert H. Lawrence. So that's something that I didn't know about, and I was doing some checking on the site, doing some history looking, and found out about it. This was the first African-American astronaut. I know you guys heard of Guy Buford and went up and all of that. Well, Major Lawrence started in the Manned Orbiting Laboratory. They call it the MOL. The Manned Orbiting Laboratory was a secret project. They wanted to have a way to go up and spy on our adversaries. You know, we have been using U-2 planes to fly over Russia. Other countries take pictures and stuff. Well, they were going to have satellites, or not satellites, they were going to launch a modified Gemini capsule with a laboratory onto it, and they'd put 2 men up that were going to stay up 30 days at a time and then come back to Earth, and they would be doing surveillance or reconnaissance work for the U.S. government. And one of those people that was in that program was Major Lawrence. Yes, it said the Joint U.S. Air Force Reconnaissance Office had this. They wanted to obtain high-resolution photographic imagery of America's Cold War adversaries, mainly you would say Russia and China. They authorized in August 1965 the MOL program, envisioned a series of mini space stations in low polar Earth orbit occupied by 2-man crews for 30 days at a time, launching and returning to Earth aboard a Gemini capsules. So that was something that the Air Force had going, and they were working with the National Reconnaissance Office. The United States Air Force selected Major Robert Lawrence Jr. on June 30th of 1967 as a member of the third group of aerospace research pilots of the MOL program. He became the first African American to be selected as an astronaut by any national space program. Of the significance of his selection, though, Lawrence said it was just with his typical modesty, "This is nothing dramatic, it's just a normal progression. I've been very fortunate." So that was a guy. He was born in Chicago, graduated from high school at 16 years old, earned a bachelor's degree in chemistry from Bradley University at the age of 20, and became an Air Force officer and pilot. Lawrence was a highly accomplished pilot with 2,500 flying hours, 2,000 of which in jets, and earned a PhD in physical chemistry from Ohio State University. So this guy was a pilot, he was accomplished, and he had a PhD in chemistry. So that says a lot right there. In 1965, the only selected MOL astronaut with a doctorate. So he was the only astronaut at that time selected that was a doctor. Yeah, so he got in there. He completed the Air Force Test Pilot School in June 1967 and was immediately assigned to the MOL project. And that was what we said, the Manned Orbiting Laboratory. While serving as an instructor for another pilot practicing landing techniques, later used in the space shuttle program, Lawrence perished in a crash of the F-104 Starfighter, the supersonic jet, on December 8, 1967, at Edwards Air Force Base in California. You didn't hear a lot about it because it was basically a secret program. It says, although both men ejected from the crash, Lawrence did not survive. The promising career of the pilot scientist suddenly extinguished. He was survived by his wife, Barbara, and an 8-year-old son, Tracy. So later, many of his classmates joined NASA. NASA astronaut Don Peterson recalled in an oral history, Bob was a super guy. His death was a terrible tragedy. So this program went on, but in 1969, they shut it down because it got to be where they knew they could do the same thing. They didn't have to have a manned capsule to go up to take these pictures and do the reconnaissance work. A lot of that stuff could be done through automated devices. So as satellites progressed and they were able to put cameras on them and control them from the Earth, they didn't need that program to put men in a capsule going around taking the pictures. So because of his untimely death and the relative secrecy surrounding the MOLE program, Lawrence's name remained largely unknown for many years. A concerted effort during the 1990s to overcome bureaucratic barriers over the definition of an astronaut resulted in Lawrence receiving proper, if belated, recognition in September of 1997 in tribute to his outstanding accomplishments as an American space pioneer. The crew of the Space Shuttle Atlantis carried his MOL mission patch into orbit during mission 86 of the shuttle. The flown patch was presented to his widow on December 8, 1997, the 30th anniversary of his death. And as I was looking on YouTube, they actually have a memorial that they did for him in, I think it was in 2000, 50 years after his death. And it was a lot of good tributes and stuff to him. So this was a young man, died early in a crash as he was doing a job for our country, patriotic, serving in the Air Force, one of the early pioneers of space, and an African American on top of that. So if you want to, you can look up information on Major Robert H. Lawrence. Go ahead, put it in, Google it, check out, find about him, tell your kids they can study on him or use it as a school project, turn it in as a book report or something. But that's another thing that a lot of times we think we know some of our history, but there's a whole lot of our history that we don't know. I didn't know about this man. And for years, very few people knew about him, but now it is out, and we should know and recognize the price that some of us have paid in this country. So it's good. Hats off to Major Robert H. Lawrence. Yes. So wanted to go over that. I thought that was pretty interesting because as we talk about technology, we talk about STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Here's a guy that was a pilot. He was working with some of the most technologically advanced equipment of the day. Also had a doctorate in chemistry, physical chemistry. So, those are things that we have to continue to impress and to embed into our young people, is to look at things that they can do in fields that sometimes they don't recognize even exist. So you need to tell your young people about that. Show them some of the videos about, show them about science, about space. Let them learn about dinosaurs, all of those type of things that are fields of study that can not only, make a good living for you, but help us understand this earth that we're living in. So that's one thing we wanted to get across, is that we need to have more people like Major Robert H. Lawrence and of the hidden figures at NASA. And I'm going to be digging through some of the government files and seeing some of the other people that have been doing things. But yeah, we've been having a great time. There's going to be a football game tonight. The Chiefs didn't get to play yesterday, and I wanted to get ready, so that's why I did bring my shirt down, my jacket. I wore my AFC champion shirt. Let's see if you can see that. There you go. That was from the championship of last year. This is actually a Super Bowl championship jacket that I've got here. So, we're going to be rooting them on. I may not get home in time for the kickoff because they say it's starting at 6:25, and I got a couple of shows that I got to do this evening, so won't be able to get out of here for that. And I want you guys, if you're not watching the Chiefs, to be sure and tune in to KUAW Radio right here. We have Shifting Paradigms with B. Michael Long that's going to be starting at 6 o'clock, and a new show that's really been blowing up YouTube. And so we had so many viewers on that. It kind of shot our best YouTube production beforehand down. And I tell you, so Skrill Town. And you may come in, be sure and check out Nate. He's a local music producer and booking agent. He works with a lot of acts, and he knows a lot about the business and is about the business. He's been talking to a few artists, and he has one of his artists, and we're going to play some music from him, and there'll be an interview this evening. But be sure and check out Skrill Town on KUAW. Yes, only here. You won't hear Skrill Town anywhere else, but right here at KUAW Radio, and that's going to start at 7 p.m. tonight. So in between the game, commercials and stuff come over to us, or if it looks like a blowout, just go ahead and turn the Chiefs off and check out Skrill Time right here at KUAW. Those of you that are into music, whether you're a performer or you just want to hear about what they do, what they're going through, that may be something that you want to learn. But if you're somebody that is actually in the business, then you may want to check this out also, because it may give you some tips, something that you can use that help advance your career. And we can all use any help with our careers if we're smart. You don't want to turn down any help that comes along. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about, and I think I'll do that after I take a quick break so you can hear some of our sponsors. And if you have a business event coming up, or you have a business or something that's happening that you want to promote, be sure and think about KUAW. You can come on here and you reach some of the brightest minds in the Kansas City area, Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas. We have a great, very intelligent audience that listens to this. We have over 21,000 listeners on here. So that is a big reach that you can get. And we're on platforms. We're on the audio side. If you go to our TuneIn app, you can actually pick us up on your smart speakers at home. If you tell Alexa to play KUAW, it'll play it. If you tell your Amazon Echo to play KUAW, it'll play it. So we're out there, and you can reach us through your phone. You can reach us on the internet with your Wi-Fi connections, hook up. Now that 5G is coming, as that goes, we're going to be all over the place, even in your car. So I want you to check out KUAW Radio and be sure and listen to us, and we appreciate your support. Drop a comment in on our Facebook, on our webpage, or email us and let us know, what do you think about this radio station and how we're doing. So I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back, and we'll go into a little bit of our voting and voter registration things that we need to be looking at. So stay tuned. This is KUAW Radio, the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, BFTAA, and more show. All right, I'll be right back. Hey everybody, this is Scatter. You might remember me from way back in the Zodiac days. Be sure and check us out. We're going to be here every day from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. It's old school with Scatter. Scatter's back. Check me out on the internet, KUAW.org. For all you for sale Central Manulite people, I want you to remember that in the 60s and the 70s, we had some good music. If you want to hear some of the Temptations, some of Smokey Robinson, some of the Temptations, things that you don't get every day, DJ Scatter, remember, he's going to have it for you.
Getting money now, baby girl, you don't say. She got that, she got that okay. She wanna roll it like the sunset. She got that I can't stay put in one place. She got that I don't need a man for nothing. She got that walk like she do it on the runway. She shawty bossy, but like it when I'm bossy. And if I have one more drink with you, it's gonna be over. Baby, when I spend more time with you, it's just bringing me closer. Flex up, time to have sex up, making love.
right, I'm back at you. This is George Walker, coming to you live from KUAW Studios, located in the WEB Du Bois Learning Center, looking out over the urban core of Kansas City, Missouri, right here at 4510 East Linwood Boulevard in Kansas City, Missouri. So you're listening to our BFTAA and more show, and we are so glad to be with you today and bringing you news, information, and whatever else is going on around the city. I tell you, we've been having a great time, and one thing we have to remember is that we have to vote. There is an election coming up November the 3rd, where you will be electing new representatives for Congress. Some of you may even be electing senators. There'll be a lot of different people up. Also, the president will be up. So those are things that we want to vote on. Time is getting short. If you are not registered, it is a priority that you see about getting registered to vote today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. You can register online. So you can register tonight. You can register at 10 o'clock. You can register at midnight. You can put in your registration in Missouri online. So they have a way of doing that online. You've got to do it, or you can go down and do it in person. You go to your voting office and you do your registration. You've got to be registered. They talk about absentee voting and mailing in your votes and doing all of that, but none of that counts if you're not registered. So we've got until October the 7th to get registered to vote in the upcoming election. Not telling you who to vote for. The thing is that if you don't get registered, you're not going to be able to vote for anybody. We've got congressmen that are elected every 2 years. So we know that our congressman is up for re-election. You also have some senators, they're 6 years, so they kind of stagger them. You may vote on one. Some years in Missouri, some 2-year intervals, you wouldn't vote at all on either one because of the term times that they have. But those are elections, and those are people that are on the election that you need to be finding out about. Who do you want to vote for? Be it Democrat, be it, just a second. Yeah, if it's a Democrat, if it's a Republican, if it's a Green Party, if it's Libertarian, find out about them. Find out if that's what you kind of think is a person you want to go with. If you want to roll with them, then you want to vote with them. So those are some things that we need to look at. Get registered. 2 more days. So you got tomorrow, Wednesday, October the 7th, it's over. If you haven't used your voice by then to say that you want to vote, then come November, you can take a long nap. There won't be nothing else for you to do. So if you haven't registered to vote, if you moved, you need to use a change of address form. So if you got a different apartment than you had when you did register, some of us registered 10 years ago. If you haven't voted and you moved 3 or 4 times, you've got to go and give them a change of address to let them know where you are. If you don't know if you're registered, you can go online. Go to the Secretary of State's office, Missouri Secretary of State. I think you can put MOSOS in there, but the Missouri Secretary of State, Google that up, go to their site, excuse me, or you can even go to the Jackson County Election Board if you live in Greater Kansas City. If you're north of the river, it would be the Clay County Election Board, and some of you may be even in Platte County. Those of you that are out past Belton, I think that's Cass County, so you have to know which county you're in, but you can check. You put your name in and you can see if you're registered to vote and if they have the correct address. Because if you show up at the place where you used to vote but you've moved out of that area, then your vote's not going to count. They won't even let you vote. If your driver's license says you live on 39th Street, but when you registered you were living in Grandview, you got a problem. So that's the thing that we need to check out also, because when we get to the election board, then you'll say that they make up all these rules and stuff. No, that's been around all the time. A lot of times we haven't paid attention to it. So if you've moved, you need to change your address, and you need to do that as soon as possible. I don't know what the date is for the change of address, but I think it might be close to the October 7th date too, because it's all about registering. So if you've changed your address, you still have to do the same thing. So if you've moved, if you're in a different location than you were the last time that you voted, a new house or whatever, life's been good to you and you've moved into the penthouse. So be sure and go and change your voting address. Now, when it comes to voting on November the 3rd, I pulled up a sheet. I wanted to put it up on the screen while we was talking about it, but I don't think I had time to get that built in there. Sometimes things just get a little bit past me, and I didn't get it up there. But if you go to the Missouri Secretary of State's office or website, same in Kansas, go to the Kansas Secretary of State. Those are the people that run the voting. So they usually have information on there about registration. That's all I did. I mean, I'm not no smart person. I don't have this stuff memorized. You just go to the websites, Google it. You can find out about voting. When you go on Facebook, they have a thing comes up now about voting and checking to see if you register. Don't just blow that stuff off and then be sitting around crying, talking about, well, I don't know why they got this person in office and they shouldn't be there and they don't do things right and stuff, but you didn't vote. So we want to make sure that we do that. Now, you can do in-person voting, which is the best way to vote because you know your vote counts. If you show up there and you fill out your card and you put it in right then, boom, you've got it done. And as I was watching the Secretary of State online saying, if there's a problem, if the machine doesn't take it or if it says there's an error, you can fix it right then if you're in person. You know, if you're in person there and there's a problem. Now, if you mail it in and there's a problem, well, there's no time to fix it. They can't get it back to you and say, hey, you voted twice on here for both people as president, and we're going to have to throw that out. You may have did it inadvertently thinking you was writing on another line, but if you mail it in or something, it's a done deal. But if you're there in person, you can kind of correct some things. So that's the best way to vote. It's not the way that everybody's going to vote, and some people, due to the coronavirus and health conditions and things like that, won't be able to make it. But if you're healthy and able to go and do in-person voting, is very good. I mean, that's the old-fashioned way, but that's the way that you know, hey, I voted, I put my thing in the machine, it was counted, we got it. You can't do no better than that. Now, the next thing is absentee voting in person. So from, you see it says from September the 22nd to November the 2nd at 5 o'clock, you can visit your local election authority and complete an absentee application. You can receive your ballot and cast it at that time. So you can do, and that's some voting that's actually going on right now. There's some going on in Independence. You have to go to your local election board to find out where you would do absentee voting. And one of the things you don't have to do. Now, if you're doing absentee voting, sometimes your ballot may have to be notarized. For there's some cases where it doesn't have to be notarized, but if you're a younger person, you may want to think about that they want the, if you're going to mail in your absentee voting, you have to have it notarized. Now, if you go there in person, I don't think you have to do that. I'm not sure. Check with the Secretary of State or your local election commission to be sure. But you can receive your ballot and cast it at that time. So if you go into absentee voting, they're doing some at the Union Station if you're in Kansas City. I think the rest of Jackson County may be Independence, not sure. Like I say, check your local office, call the Board of Election Commissioners, and they can tell you. But for those that are over 65, you definitely don't have to have yours notarized. You can go ahead and go down there, get and vote. And that's the reason that you're going. You're over 65. I happen to fit in that category. So I may go down and vote tomorrow just to make sure I get it out there. Now, you can absentee vote by mail. You have to request in person or by mail, email, or fax, and the application must be received by a local election authority no later than October the 21st. So absentee voting. You can get your, you got to ask for it. You got to request the absentee voting application by October the 21st. Receive your ballot by mail and complete it promptly. Have your ballot envelope notarized if necessary. So if you need to have it notarized for any reason, and if you're not sure, get it notarized anyway. A lot of places are setting up notaries on at different locations. I think community centers and other buildings that they have notaries there that are working, and you can get your ballot notarized because if it's not notarized and it should be, then they won't count it. Now it says it's your ballot doesn't need to be notarized on mail-in voting. The no reason is if you're 65, living in a long-term care facility, have a serious heart condition, some other things like that, then you don't have to have it notarized. But for a lot of other reasons, you need to have it notarized. So if you're not sure, and if you haven't talked to somebody at an election board, I would say get your absentee voting or your mail-in voting application notarized. That way, there's no doubt about it. You know, if it's notarized, then they'll definitely count. If it's not notarized, they have to see if you fit in a category that doesn't have to have it notarized. So you know, I would say to err for caution and to get it notarized. And as Cheryl Underwood says on their show, when you're mailing in your absentee ballot and the envelope that's inside of it is two things. If it's too heavy, it may not go through the mail. So there's one thing to be sure when you mail it in, use 2 stamps. Yeah, if you're going to mail back a ballot, just so that there's no problem, and they say, well, it weighed too much, and they have to send it back to you to get extra postage, and next thing you know, the election's over with, put 2 stamps on there just to be safe. It's not a law. There's nobody saying that you have to do it and stuff, but just to make sure that your vote counts, you might want to put 2 stamps on it. And that way they won't have a weight problem. Because you never know, as election time come up, a lot of people are being held to do things by the book. And that's fair. I mean, it's not, you know, as long as they do it for everybody, I don't have a problem with that. But just so you don't get caught up in something, put 2 stamps on it. Make sure it goes out with 2 stamps and you can do it. Also, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, see if they're registered. If they're not registered, ask them why not. Tell them, hey, you know, I've got a computer, a laptop here, tablet. We can do that. Some places, too, I did read, I think it's Missouri or either Kansas, if you're doing it online, you have to use a laptop or a tablet because you have to sign it. They want to see a signature. So you have to run, or anything with a touch screen. I guess you can use a laptop or your computer if you've got a touchpad, anything that you can write your name, because it does have to be signed. I'm not sure if that's Kansas or Missouri, but they want the registration application signed, so you may have to use a tablet or a smartphone or something like that where you can put your finger across it, which that sounds real weird to me because when I try to sign something on one of them screens, and if I show up in person and write on something, they definitely ain't going to look alike. Because my signature, when I'm at the store or something trying to sign on that little thing, man, that is terrible. So you may want to practice on that. If you can write on those screens okay with your finger or with a stylus, no problem. But yeah, if you compare my signature on a touch screen with my signature that I wrote, both of them look kind of bad, but the one on the screen looks terrible. I wouldn't let me vote if I showed up and looked at it and said, oh, I ain't even me, you know. But all kidding aside, that's a serious topic. I think that we need to take this serious and make sure that you're registered to vote. If you haven't, do so. And then make sure that you go vote and vote intelligently. Know why you're voting for this person. Look at it and say, not just what somebody said, but do a little research yourself and go from there. But I want to thank you all for joining me today. I appreciate you. I'm glad that you're listening. I was talking to a friend, our Paseo class of 70. Hey, if any of you are listening out there, Paseo 1970, we're planning, or there's somebody planning, I'm not doing the planning, on a virtual class reunion type thing that'll be coming up this weekend. So if you know any class members that you can reach out to, let them know that we're there's being put together a Zoom type program that you'll be able to go to a Zoom thing since we weren't able to meet physically, that a lot of the class of 70 can meet virtually. So I'll be there, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the faces that I haven't seen in a long time. And it should be a great thing, or at least the best we can have in the situation that we're dealing with, because there won't be another 50 year to come come around again. We can do our 51st year reunion, but it just don't have the ring of a 50th year reunion. So yeah, anybody out there, if you're listening, you know somebody come out of Paseo High School in 1970, have them get in touch with the radio station so we can tell you about it. Or go on our Facebook page. I think there's a Paseo 70 reunion page. Paseo High School class of 70, something like that. I forget exactly what it said, reunion page. And there should be some information popping up there. Thank you for joining me. I'm sure glad to have some time to share with you a little bit of the history, a little bit of things that are going on in technology and what's going on in the city. Be sure and vote. This is the end of my time. The BFTAA and More Show. I'm George Walker. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, this is Scatter. You might remember me from way back in the Zodiac days. Be sure